And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Look, we got to get there. So hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share. Most importantly, share with family and friends, because the insanity in DC, it doesn't stop. Now, look, Republicans know that they're in trouble heading into the midterms. Instead of winning fair and square, they're redrawing the maps to lock in their power. We all see that. Texas fired the first shot, forcing, of course, California to hit back. And now other states are joining what could turn into a full-blown gerrymandering civil war. On my Mea Culpa podcast, Joy Reid and I don't mince words. We don't, calling Texas's new map a Jim Crow map. We break it all down, what's at stake and why. Why Democrats cannot afford to sit this fight out. It's also what I write in my Substack. Play the clip.
And Michael, let me make it even worse for you, because State Representative Jolanda Jones sent me the maps they used, and the maps and the charts. What Republicans did is they went through and they very specifically and microscopically calculated how many Anglo, and this is the word they use, Anglo versus non-Anglo Texans live in Texas in each district. Then they went through and they went further and they calculated the voting propensity of the non-Anglo Texans, and then tried to find ways to put low voting propensity Hispanics in the same district as high voting propensity whites. So when they create quote unquote Hispanic districts, a lot of the people in that district are 12 and they can't vote. And so you're putting, there was one, and the one I'll show you that's the most sort of egregious for it. District 19, Congressional District 19, was in the old map when the Democrats left the state to try to deny quorum. It was pretty bad what they were doing to it. They were changing District 19 a little bit. They were moving things around. In the new District 19, they changed nothing. District 19 gets to keep 100% of its original self, whereas District 9, which is where Al Green, State Representative Al Green is, loses 70% of their original voters. And then they input another black district, 18. They drop those people into District 9, smush them together. They're not even physically close to each other. They mush them together. But you go back to District 19 for a minute. District 9 is 50% quote unquote Anglo. This is not my words. This is their words, Anglo. And it's about 49% non-Anglo. But when you look at the voter propensity, which you go a little bit further down the chart, it's 53% Anglo because of the low propensity of the Hispanic vote. So they're being surgical in making sure that only white Texans get to decide the congressional delegation.
Listen, that's the power of AI. I guarantee you that to draw 100%. This map didn't take them more than a couple of days. I mean, using the power of AI in order to then input who the voters are, mapping out every single house, it's not a complicated thing anymore, which is, by the way, why it was never done in the past, right?
Yeah.
AI has actually, I saw on that same map, there's one new district that stretches just shy of 500 miles. I'm trying to figure out how the oil guy all the way out there, which is by almost the border of Mexico, and somebody in Austin, right, a suburban guy, right, or how the suburban and the rural individuals should have the same member of Congress, the same representation, when their ideologies, their needs, their wishes, their wants are so diametrically opposed.
Yeah.
The way I just see it is, as you wrote, this is systemic voter suppression. And it's, I believe, and I hate saying things like this. I hate comparing people to Nazis. I hate the sort of oversimplification of it. But this is, to me, on par with Jim Crow.
Yes, it is 100% Jim Crow, because, again, they themselves made it clear in their maps and in their data that they want high propensity white voters and to be mixed in the same districts. Because remember, white voters are not the majority in Texas. Hispanic voters are. Hispanics,
by the way, white voters aren't the majority in the United States of America either.
Exactly. But in Texas, the the largest number of people who live there, the largest number of humans are Latino. The
Hmm.
second largest are white, and then the third are black. Blacks are only about 13%. But for the last like 5 years or so, it was about 5 years ago that Texas became majority Hispanic. They have demographics that are not that dissimilar to California. But what they've done in Texas is an apartheid style system to say that we will draw these crazy 500 miles. The thing that's so insidious about it is that in Texas, their constitution requires each district to have the same number of people. So they're drawing big lines around farms and empty fields and cows and stuff just to get the same number of humans in each district. So they claim that's fairness because each district is the same physical size. But if you have a district that's 500,000 people and 200,000 of them are white and they're voting age, but only like 50,000 are voting age Hispanics and the other Hispanics in the district are children, then you've made it very clear that what you're doing is making a white power map. I can't call it anything other than a white power map. That's what it is.
Look, that's exactly what it is. And I got to say, the thing that I'm also upside down over is I get it. They have managed to, on paper, using AI, mathematics, and so on, and data, they have figured out how to fuck with the map in order to achieve a goal, which is the retention of power. They also now have seen, I'm talking about the voters there in Texas, they have now seen, because all you need to do is turn on the television, read a newspaper, they have seen that this gerrymandering is going to cause a gerrymandering war. Gavin Newsom is out there. You got J.B. Pritzker is out there. We also now hear that, Ohio is going to do it. And it's
Maryland
going to
too.
be Maryland. There's going to be a gerrymandering civil war in this country. The one thing that I wish to God Ken Martin and the DNC would do, let's Joy, you and me, go into deep red Texas. A white guy, a black woman, two people who are and have been critical of the president, go into the deep red states and saying, I get it. I get it. But is this really what you want? Is this going to actually benefit you? You do understand that you are paying for tariffs. Can we at least just start with one simple fact that is undeniable? When you go to the grocery store, are you paying more for your meat today than you were 3 months ago? And the answer is yes, by 22% or more.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that? Is it Joe Biden's fault? Or is it this administration's fault? And what we're saying is, while they're looking at you as, what's the right way to describe it, as just a blip on an AI map, they already have your vote before they tell you why they deserve to have your vote. Why are we not going in there? This map bullshit only works if the people let it. And you've made an incredibly, just a very insightful point, which is this is all about a white map. Is that really what you want? Is that really what you see America as? And I'm not so sure that they do.
See, my challenge to white America is that it has been enough for most of our history for most white people to just have white power. Even if they don't have white economic power or they don't get any economic benefit, the power of the invention of this thing called whiteness, because, we're all Homo sapiens. Like it isn't real. Like if we're just being honest, race is a fiction, right? But it was a fiction that was weaponized in this country because of enslavement, because of slavery. And when this thing was invented in the 1500s, it to me became the most powerful invention in all of human history. Because what you then could do is you could say to the white indentured servant, hey, you may be a servant. You may have no chance of living past age 50, but you're white. That should be good enough for you. And you can say to them, I'm not going to give you a good wage or union benefits or the ability to rise truly in society, but you're white. And that should be good enough for you. And unfortunately, a lot of white America has been groomed to believe it's good enough. I have seen some of the most devastating poverty in my life in Mississippi among Black folks, but I've also seen incredible poverty among white people in this country. If you go to West Virginia, where Bishop Barber does a lot of activism, those people are poor. They're not getting anything, but they still vote overwhelmingly for Republicans because of whiteness.
Sure, but my point is, this isn't about economics. This is about people understanding American democracy, the Constitution, and the importance that the democratic experiment that has lasted 250 years is basically hanging by a thread. You know, Texas is actually a good example of why I really believe that if we went in there, understanding we may get booed like Elise Stefanik got booed, we may, have to leave and then go to a different district. But the beauty about Texas, when I went to Texas, the beauty is that it's so multicultural, and people who are Black and people who are white and Latino, they all work together. And, it's not like the district is solely white or solely Black or solely Latino. There is a mixture, and it's like what happened in Springfield, Ohio, when people came out, Black and white and Hispanic came out, and they said, wait, why are you attacking this Haitian community? We love them. Our favorite restaurant is John's, right? They're not eating cats and dogs. They stood up. The community stood up for these other individuals. I believe, at least I want to believe, maybe I'm tired, so I'm a little naive. I want to believe that even if they want to have a white power, a white superiority, that still doesn't mean that they want to lose America's democratic republic. And I'm not 100% sure that this Texas gerrymandering is going to succeed for the Republicans the way they think, just based upon a blip on an AI map. At least I hope so.
I hope you're right. You're much more optimistic even though my name is Joy, I'm like very not optimistic about things. I mean, the reality is I look at Springfield, Ohio in a different way. Those Haitian immigrants have largely been deported or they've left. And now Springfield is facing an economic catastrophe. Springfield right now, today, is collapsing economically because of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance's attacks on those Haitian migrants, those immigrants. They're not even migrants, they're immigrants. They were legitimately there with legal visas. They've now fled, left. Those who are there are afraid to go to work. They're afraid to go to school. It has destroyed Springfield. So Trump has managed, and J.D. Vance in his home state has managed to destroy this town where, to your point, white, Black, and Latino people and Asian American were working in harmony and were very happy with what they had. And Trump wrecked it. What I hope is that the same thing that's happened in places like Texas when women's rights have been eviscerated, and then the next election comes around and they just vote the same people back in that hurt them. Georgia too. Women lost their right to an abortion. It's a 6-week abortion ban state. I'm thinking, Republicans are going to pay for that in the next election. They didn't. And so what I unfortunately have seen as the pattern is that people just continue to vote for the same people who are hurting them. And unless you can break that cycle where people can say, I can vote for a Democrat, I can bring myself, even though I'm culturally a Republican, to not vote for the same idiot who's ruining my life. That's the thing I don't understand how to break, is how do you get people to stop voting for those people?
Hey everyone, first of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.